What is up, gang? It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And today we have a very important chart update combined with news. Now, if you did not watch the previous video update on the Bitcoin chart action, go back and watch that now because it will make more sense when you see this update. If you look and see what the charts were telling us before and what just wrecked the chart, changing a little bit from what we see at the current moment. So jump back and watch that video and you're going to be like, that was cool, Beavis. So hopefully you like my new t-shirt here. Just plucked that off at the Walmarts for only $11.99. That is not a Walmart plug. Neither is this technical advice. Take everything I say with a grain of salt and understand that I'm not here trying to predict the markets. One moment, please. I got allergies so bad. I'm not here trying to predict the markets. I'm here to make sense of the charts and to talk about the news. And I'm of the firm belief that nobody knows what's going to really happen next because of the wild cards that enter into the equation at any given time. Now, in the last video, we were talking about the possibility of Bitcoin continuing a correction. We also talked about the possibility of getting snapped up to the black dash line. I was leaning towards correction, but as we can see, Bitcoin has surged ahead, going up above the black dash line. So this scenario that I thought had less probability, it happened. Why did it happen? It happened because of the recent news that BlackRock is applying for a spot ETF. Now, there are so many things we can talk about with that, so let's just discuss it. First of all, what is a spot ETF? Spot means it's the current trading price, as opposed to the futures market where you make a bet. And they call it a contract where you are betting on the future price of Bitcoin, let's say 1 month, 3 months, or 6 months down the road. And during the time that you wait, people can buy and sell or trade those futures contracts before they even end. And at the end of the futures contract, all it says is, Party A agrees to buy Bitcoin at this price and sell it to Party B. So let's say Bitcoin is at 20,000 right now. And then the contract says that in 3 months, Party A is going to buy 1 Bitcoin and sell it to Party B for, say, $30,000. And then at the end of that contract, the price of Bitcoin was actually $15,000. But then Party A has a contract to sell his 1 Bitcoin that he can now buy at 15. He sells that to Party B for $30,000 and makes a $15,000 profit. That's because they entered into a contractual agreement that one party would buy a Bitcoin and sell it to the other party at some point in the future. Spot price means the price right now. So an exchange traded fund is something where you can group stuff and let people buy slices of it or shares of it. So with an ETF, they would be able to buy up a bunch of Bitcoin, throw in some Ethereum, and even some Litecoin. So instead of you having to go and buy those 3 coins separately, you could buy it as one group. Instead of figuring out how to buy it on Coinbase or Binance, all they would have to do is buy a share of the ETF. Now, it doesn't have to be a combination of coins. It could be just Bitcoin. So BlackRock owns the Bitcoin, and they're the custody holder. They're the babysitter. That Bitcoin is going to stay under their control. And you're buying a slice of that Bitcoin through the stock market, through their ETF. So that means you don't hold the keys to the crypto. But rich people who don't have the time to figure out keys and wallets and all of that nonsense All they got to do is go to BlackRock and buy a share of an ETF. That news caused the price to go straight up before we even know if the SEC is going to approve it. And the reason is because BlackRock is the biggest hedge fund in the world. They own more stuff than anybody in the world. And if they're approved, they can buy massive chunks of Bitcoin. In anticipation of this, the price shot up. Now, if they get denied, which I don't think they're going to, we're going to probably see price go down. But I'm starting to understand what's going on behind the scenes, and I will save that for another video. But I'm thinking the SEC, headed by Gary Gremlin, they are going to approve this because there is a dark motive behind this spot ETF approval, okay? Because what they are going to try to do is control the entire crypto market and put it in the hands of the hedge funds and the government. And they're going to pull a bait and switch. I'm going to post a link to Casey What's-Her-Face's video that I just watched this morning, which will explain to you why this could be a very bad thing and how they could possibly pull a bait and switch on us and take over Bitcoin. And it has something to do with environmental stuff, the emissions, and how the government hates Bitcoin mining. But we'll save that for the next video. Now that we know why the price went straight up, we'll look and see what the chart is saying. It kind of seems like we've seen the end of it. We're stymied here. We have our second candle after the two huge green candles on the one-day chart as we surged above the 50 EMA. I said that we would possibly get rejected from the 50, and now you can see I have the 200 EMA back on my chart. But instead, the news came out, and as I always tell you, price tends to get snapped up to these nodes on the VPVR. That stands for Volume Profile Visible Range. In other words, it's how much Bitcoin is bought and sold at $28,000 over history, instead of how much Bitcoin is bought and sold in a 24-hour period. That's what this bar means. So we've popped above the black dashed line and we're way above this volume node. Where do we go from here? It could go higher. We could mess around and stay up here in the oversold zone. We could get like a double hump camel. We could do this and stay up there. Or we could round off, as you see the blue line is starting to curl over, and we could get a return and a full cycle. I don't know which way it's going to go. It's 50-50, and it depends on what's going to happen with this ETF. That's why sometimes news can wreck a chart and throw off the equilibrium and the action that would have happened had it not been for this monumental news. It also looks like the bars on the histogram are peaking out, but the blue line is very divergent, taking off like an airplane flying above the orange line, which is the slow line on the MACD oscillators. Okay, that stands for moving average convergence divergence. And I don't call it the MACD. If you don't know why, watch my older videos. Now let's look at the 1 week chart and the 1 month chart, and then we'll end it. Last week, the 1 week chart was looking bearish as the stochastic was headed straight down. Let's see what happens to that chart when it gets BlackRocked. Rocked by the BlackRock news. And we see that once we get the news of BlackRock, of course, straight green candle here, peaked out, small wick, and we see this, a possible crossover of the stochastic. Before I shot this video, we were right here where the blue line was falling away from the orange line really fast. But all it took was this big fat candle right here to pull up the blue line, the fast line, where it is now touching and crossing over the orange line. Very bullish. It could go up, but then again, it could go down. And let me remind you, I'm not here to give you a prediction. I'm here to tell you what the possibilities are. It's 50-50 at this point, because if this news peters out, then this stochastic is going to continue to go down. If the news pans out, we could cycle up here, and we could really have a premature bull run starting. Now, downstairs on the MACD, we do see that we had a very clear bearish crossover here, and now, just like we did with the stochastic, the fast line on the MACD oscillators has curled back up and is now touching the orange line, wanting to come up and over it. And that is interesting, because we were printing these red bars on the histogram, but that could get snatched to the zero line. It's too early to tell, but you can expect a quick correction or a continuation. Is 50-50, and if you're playing around in this market, you better understand that you could get burnt. It is very volatile. Now let's end on the 1 month and call it a day. So the 1 month was looking somewhat bearish because the stochastic fast line was starting to curl over, but now it is pulled back up. See, this is where it was curling over, and it kind of was looking like it wanted to do this, and then it just went back up again. That's what it did. We also see a crossover happening right here, where this fast line goes over the orange and the histogram goes from solid red to light red, which means it's going to the zero line, and then it could start crawling up here, printing green bars. If that happens, and if this stochastic continues to rise, then this is the trend right here. It's going to continue to go up. But we can't be 100% sure. There are a lot of shenanigans going on with the government, with BlackRock, with the investment companies, with the Federal Reserve Bank, that we will talk about in the next video. And this is such a wild card. I'm not playing around in this market. This is not a guarantee. The only amount that I put into Bitcoin is what I expect to lose. I'm not betting the house. I'm not betting the farm, because the rich folks, the government, and our big hedge funds are not going to hand over the future wealth of all generations on a silver platter without a fight. And they've got the money and the power and the dirty politicians to get the job done, to keep that wealth under their control. But we'll save that for a later date. Let me know in the comments what you think of this chart, what you think the outlook is, and how you think this BlackRock news will affect the overall market. And then we'll also talk about some impending USDT news that is FUD. There is still FUD out there, and the possibility of black swans. And that is why I believe that it's still 50-50. 50% that we start the bull market early, 50% that we still have a capitulation event, which they'll still benefit from, because if they wreck the price, then all the better. Cheaper Bitcoin for them to scoop up, to take away from us when they pull off the bait and switch that you can understand and learn about in the link for Casey's video below. But that's all I've got for now, and I would love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Pro channel. And if you would like to help me defray these expensive, hideous costs of producing the channel, you may do so with the giving of a super thanks. And I thank you in advance. And until next time, you better be here. You really better be here for this next video. I'm signing out. Carlton is out. Dadgummit, I'm out.